failed a college class and my dad stopped paying my tuition, saying I needed to learn a lesson. But he paid for my cousin's entire college, so I went through his messages and discovered he had been having an affair with my aunt. Hi. I am not sure if I went too far or if my dad got exactly what he deserved. Everything has been such a mess, and I don't know how to feel about it anymore. Here's my story. I am 18F, in my first year of college, and it has been way harder than I expected. Moving away from home, balancing classes, and trying to figure everything out have been overwhelming. I was not able to catch up in spite of my best efforts. I failed one of my classes by the end of the semester. I was so scared. Failing felt like the worst thing that could happen. But what made it worse was telling my dad, Drake, 46M. I thought he would be upset, sure, but I also thought he would give me a chance to explain. I was wrong. When I told my dad that I had flunked a class, he blew up. He accused me of wasting his money, saying I was not taking college seriously and needed to learn a lesson. His anger took me completely by surprise because I had always been a good student. I had gotten straight A's in high school, worked hard, and always tried to do my best. This was the first time I had ever struggled academically, and it was a huge blow to me. I tried to explain that it was just one class and that I could fix it, but he did not want to hear it. He claimed that this mistake proved that I no longer deserved his support. Then he dropped the worst possible news: he would no longer pay for my tuition. I could not believe it. I had always worked hard to make him proud, and now, after a single failure, he was turning his back on me. All of my hard work seemed to be for nothing. I had always been the student who did everything properly, but none of it was important at that moment. I was completely caught off guard. It was more than just failing a class. It felt like he was abandoning me when I needed him the most. Just like that, I was on my own. My mother, Sophia, 45F, tried to convince him to change his mind, but he turned it down. He told me I needed to grow up and face the consequences of my actions. He did not seem to care about me. For weeks, I struggled to figure out what to do. I looked into student loans and part-time jobs, but I felt completely lost. My father was supposed to support me, but now I was drowning while trying to stay in school. Then, I found out something that made it all so much worse. My cousin David, 19M, my dad's nephew, started college last year. I knew my dad had been paying for David's tuition because Dad used to say that my uncle Frank, 48M, had done so much for him growing up, and he wanted to repay him by taking this responsibility. I always thought it was just a little help here and there, like covering some books or helping with rent. But no. My dad was paying for everything. Tuition, books, housing, the whole deal. I could not believe it. Here I was, struggling to figure out how to stay in school, and my dad was bending over backward for someone else. I confronted him, hoping he would see how unfair it was. Instead, he told me that David deserved it because he was doing well in school, unlike me. He even said, "Why should I reward failure?" That broke me. He did not even try to hide the fact that he cared more about David than me. For weeks, I could not stop thinking about how much he had hurt me. I felt abandoned and betrayed. That is when I remembered something I had been ignoring for years. Growing up, my dad's relationship with my Uncle Frank's wife, Kim, 46F, always seemed a little strange. They were really close, closer than I thought they should be. At family gatherings, they would find reasons to talk alone or step outside for private conversations. They shared little inside jokes and laughed in a way that felt like they were the only ones in the room. As a kid, I did not think much of it, but it always felt off. Later, I learned they were not just close by chance. My dad and Kim grew up together in the same neighborhood. Their families were close, so they spent a lot of time together as kids. My mother would dismiss it as nothing, saying that they have always been good friends. But their relationship always seemed to go deeper than a childhood friendship. Then I discovered they had dated briefly as teenagers. My mother casually mentioned it one day, as if it were nothing to worry about. She said they were just friends, and it meant nothing, and it was super casual. But as I grew older, I noticed their behavior, and I could not help but think that there might have been more to it. Even after Kim married my uncle, Frank, she and my dad stayed close, too close. The way they talked, the way they laughed, and even the way they looked at each other felt like there was a history they had not really left behind. My dad always seemed to defend Kim, even when it did not make sense, and she always seemed to seek him out, no matter who else was around. Looking back now, it is hard not to feel like the signs were always there. Their connection was not just about being old friends, it was something more. I just did not know it at the time. After what my dad did to me, I could not stop thinking about it. I decided to find out the truth. I went through his emails and messages. At first, I felt guilty about snooping, but then I thought, why should I care about his privacy when he doesn't care about me? It did not take long to find what I was looking for. My dad and Kim had been having an affair for years. This was not just a fling. There were texts, emails, and even pictures that proved it was a full-blown relationship. But then I found something even worse. David was not my Uncle Frank's son. He was my dad's. Their messages made it clear. My dad and Kim had been hiding the truth for years. They talked about how guilty Kim felt for lying to Uncle Frank and how my dad always saw David as his real son. It also explained why my dad paid for David's college. He felt as responsible as his father. Suddenly, everything made sense. My dad's favoritism toward David was not just about being a good uncle. David was his son, the child he had with the woman he truly loved. Meanwhile, I was just a reminder of the life he settled for with my mom. My dad did not just neglect me, he chose David because, to him, David was more important. His affair did not just ruin his marriage to my mom or his bond with Uncle Frank. It had shaped my entire life, making me feel like I was never enough. I was furious. All the times my dad acted like he was this perfect, moral guy was a joke. He was not just a bad dad, he was a liar and a hypocrite. I did not know what to do at first. Should I tell my mom? Should I confront him? Part of me wanted to keep it to myself, but the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Why should I protect someone who clearly did not care about me? I decided to tell my Uncle Frank. I sent him everything, the texts, the emails, the pictures. I also wrote him a long message explaining what I had found. When Uncle Frank called me after reading it, he was heartbroken. I could hear it in his voice. He thanked me for telling him but said he did not know how he would ever move on from this. The situation blew up after everything was revealed. Uncle Frank wasted no time confronting my father and Kim, showing them the proof I sent. Kim tried to deny it at first, but the evidence was right there, in front of them. My father did not even try to defend himself, he just stood there, quiet. Uncle Frank was infuriated. He kicked Kim out of the house the same day, refusing to let her stay even for one night. She begged and cried, but he refused to listen. Within a week, he filed for divorce, citing infidelity and making it clear that he no longer wanted to be with her. It did not stop there. My dad and Uncle Frank used to run a business together. After the affair came to light, Uncle Frank bought out my dad's share. Without that income, my dad's finances fell apart. He had been living way beyond his means for years, and now he could not keep up. He had to sell our family home and move into his parents' house. And as for David, my dad could not afford to pay for his tuition anymore. David had to drop out of college and move back home with Uncle Frank, who was also struggling after the divorce. Now, my dad is broke, alone, and has no one left to turn to. He has tried reaching out to me a few times, but I have not responded. I don't feel bad for him. He made his choices, and now he is dealing with the consequences. That said, I do feel a little guilty about David. He did not do anything wrong, and now his life has been completely derailed. Part of me wonders if I went too far. Maybe exposing the affair was not the right thing to do. But then I think about how my dad treated me, how he abandoned me so easily, and I feel like he got what he deserved. So, Ida for exposing my dad's affair and ruining his life after he chose my cousin over me? Update 1. My mother has been struggling since she found out about my dad's affair. She had no idea anything was wrong. They had been married for more than 20 years, and she thought everything was perfect. She trusted him with everything. So, when I showed her all the stuff that I found, she was heartbroken. I have never seen her so hurt. I did not want to be the one to tell her, but I could not keep it in anymore. I thought about how it would destroy her, but at the same time, I knew it was something she needed to know. I found the texts, and the emails, there was no denying it. And then it all made sense. The way they acted around each other, the private conversations, and all the little things I had noticed over the years. It clicked, but it did not make it any easier to confront her with the truth. When I finally showed my mom the proof, she just went quiet. It was like she could not believe what she was seeing. I don't think she expected it from my dad, especially not with someone like Kim. Kim had always been my mom's close friend. They had known each other for years. My mom never suspected anything. To her, Kim was just a friend, and she never thought my dad would hurt her like this. She left the house as soon as she could. She could not stay there, not with my dad, not after everything that had happened. She moved back to her parents' house. I hated seeing her like this. Everything went downhill from there. My mother was devastated. She could not eat or sleep. It was horrible to watch her fall apart. She stayed in bed for several days, barely speaking to anyone. My grandfather offered to help me with my tuition, which was a relief. I felt guilty about it because I did not want to add any more stress to everything my mom was already going through. She did not want me to stop my education, though, and I knew I had to keep moving forward, even though it felt impossible. As time passed, my mom started talking to me more about what had happened. She told me about my dad and Kim's past, and how they had dated when they were younger but broke up because they did not want anything serious. After that, my dad met my mom, and they started dating. Kim, meanwhile, started dating my Uncle Frank. Uncle Frank made sure Dad was completely over Kim, and that Dad would be okay with them dating. It all seemed so simple at first, but now, it just felt like one big lie. My mom never thought anything of it. She never suspected my dad still had feelings for Kim. He had always been the kind of man who seemed completely devoted to her. My mom never thought Kim would do anything like this. She had always considered her a close friend, a member of the family. And finding out that Kim had an affair with my father destroyed her. She was not just angry at my father, she was also upset with Kim. They had both broken her trust, and I think that hurt even more. To her, it was not just about the affair, it was about the years of friendship that was broken in an instant. I tried to comfort my mom as best as I could, but it was hard. I have never seen her like this before, and I felt helpless. She spent most of her time in bed, barely getting up. Even when she did, it felt like she was on autopilot. She could not find the energy to do much of anything. I could tell it was hard for her to even look at herself. And then there is the guilt. I am going back to college next month, and I am scared about leaving her behind. She is not doing well, and I feel like I should be staying with her, helping her through this. But I know I cannot put my life on hold. It is hard, though. Every time I think about leaving, I feel sick to my stomach. My mom would never tell me to stay, but I know she is hurting, and I don't want to leave her alone. Meanwhile, my dad is dealing with the fallout. He has lost everything: his marriage, his relationship with his brother, his reputation. Uncle Frank cut him out of his life completely. I cannot say I blame him. I cannot imagine how my uncle is feeling, either. To find out that his own brother was sleeping with his wife for years, there is no coming back from that. My dad's life is in ruins, and while part of me feels like he deserves it, another part feels sorry for him. He has made some huge mistakes, but now he is facing the consequences. I think about my dad often. I don't know what he is going through, but it is hard to feel bad for him when I see what my mom is dealing with. She is the one who has to pick up the pieces, and it is not fair. But I cannot change that. I just have to try to be there for her, as much as I can. Update 2. My mom called me yesterday. She sounded tired. She told me that Kim had been reaching out to her for weeks, but she had not responded. At first, Mom said she did not see the point. Why talk to the woman who ruined her marriage? But Kim kept insisting, saying she needed to meet her. Finally, Mom agreed. She was not interested in hearing an apology. She just wanted to know the details. When they met, Kim started apologizing right away. She said all the things you would expect: how sorry she was, how wrong she had been, how she should have never done it. Mom did not care. She stopped Kim and told her she did not want to hear excuses or apologies. She wanted to know what happened, all of it, from the beginning. Kim hesitated. She said it was complicated and hard to talk about, but Mom was not letting her off the hook. If Kim wanted this conversation, she had to be honest. After a lot of hesitation, Kim finally started talking. It began years ago, before my parents were even married. For a while, things were normal. Dad and Kim were just friends, and Mom got close to Kim too. Mom never suspected anything. But then, one night at a party they all hosted together, everything started. Everyone had been drinking heavily. By the end of the night, Mom and Uncle Frank had gone to bed, but Dad and Kim stayed up talking. At some point, Dad told Kim he still had feelings for her. To his surprise, or maybe not, Kim said she felt the same way. They ended up sleeping together that night. The next day, Dad and Kim promised each other that what they did was a mistake and would never happen again. They both felt guilty, but it did not stop. They kept on meeting up in secret, finding ways to spend time together whenever possible. Neither of them wanted to leave their partners. They said they did not want to ruin what they had with their partners, but in reality, they just did not want to deal with the consequences. They believed they could hide their affair while maintaining their relationships. After a few months, Uncle Frank proposed to Kim. Dad assumed Kim would say no. He believed that she loved him and would turn down Uncle Frank so they could somehow be together. But she did not. She said yes. Dad was shocked and furious. He felt as if she had chosen Uncle Frank over him, despite the fact that they had been sneaking around for months. He expected her to leave Uncle Frank for him, but instead, she agreed to marry him. Out of anger and frustration, Dad decided to propose to my mom. It was not because he was ready or deeply in love, it was because he did not want to feel left behind. My mom had no idea. She was happy and excited when he asked, and she said yes right away. Both couples got married within 2 months of each other. To everyone around them, everything seemed perfect. Two happy couples starting their lives together. But it was all fake. After the wedding, Dad and Kim decided to stop their affair. They told themselves they could just be friends. But on Christmas Eve, not long after they were married, the family gathered at my grandparents' house. Everyone was staying overnight for Christmas. Late that night, Dad and Kim ended up alone again. They started reminiscing about the past, talking about when they used to date. One thing led to another, and they slept together again. This time, Kim got pregnant. Kim told Dad the baby was his, but she did not want Uncle Frank to know. They decided to keep it a secret and carry on as if nothing had happened. Uncle Frank believed David was his son and raised him as such. Meanwhile, Dad and Kim continued their affair in secret. By the time I was born, their relationship had already been going on for over a year. Kim told my mom all of this. She admitted that over the years, there were times when she and Dad tried to stop, but they always went back to each other. Their affair lasted decades, all the way up until I exposed them. Kim also told Mom what happened after everything came out. When Uncle Frank found out that David was not his biological son, he was devastated. But despite everything, he decided to continue raising David as his own. He said that biology did not matter and that he still loved David like a son. David is still living with Uncle Frank, and Uncle Frank is paying for his college tuition. According to Kim, David is back in school now, and Uncle Frank has taken full responsibility for him. Kim apologized again after telling Mom all of this. She said she felt awful about everything and wished she could take it all back. But Mom did not care about her apologies. She told Kim that nothing could undo the damage they had caused. Then, Mom got up and walked out. When Mom called me and told me everything Kim had said, I could tell she was barely holding it together. She has been through so much already, and hearing all of this just added to her pain. But at the same time, she said it was a relief to finally know the truth. As for me, I don't know how to process all of this. My dad and Kim's actions were not just selfish, they were cruel. They tore apart two families and hurt everyone involved. And for what? To live a double life that was bound to come crashing down eventually? The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Update 3, I came back home for Thanksgiving, and it felt different, in a good way. The house was packed with people, mom's friends, my aunts and uncles, my grandparents, and cousins. Everyone was in a good mood, having a lot of fun, and it felt like the load of everything that had happened was finally lifted, at least for just a moment. The best part was getting to see Mom. She looked happier than she had in months. She was not as quiet or sad as before. Instead, she was happy and spoke with everyone. She even cracked some jokes, which I had not seen her do in a long time. It was a huge relief to see her doing better. After everything she had been through, I was worried she would never come out of what she was feeling. But here she was, surrounded by people who loved her, and it looked like she was finally finding her way back. The day went by so smoothly. No one brought up the mess with Dad or what had happened to our family. It was like we all silently agreed to leave it behind for one day. Everyone just focused on enjoying the moment, and it felt good. For the first time in a long time, it felt like we were a normal family again. Later that night, after the dinner had wrapped up and most people were just hanging around, the doorbell rang. I was not expecting anyone, but I got up to answer it. When I opened the door, I froze. It was Dad. He looked awful. His clothes were rumpled, his face pale, and he had bags under his eyes as if he had not slept in weeks. For a moment, I felt bad for him. He was not the confident, put-together man I remembered. He looked so different. But then I remembered what he did to Mom, and any sympathy I felt disappeared. He said he wanted to talk to me. At first, I told him it was not a good time. I did not want Mom to know he was here. She had been doing so well, and I could not risk her seeing him and falling apart again. But then he looked at me with these sad eyes, and could not say no to that. I said okay, we could talk, but not inside. I told Mom it was one of my friends from the neighborhood. I was going out for a walk with them. She did not ask any questions, just told me to take a jacket because it was cold. Our neighborhood is pretty safe, so she did not seem worried. I went outside and took Dad to a small park down the street. At first, Dad did not say much. He started with small talk, asking how I was doing and how school was going. I told him things were fine, that I was doing well in my. He said he is working at a local restaurant. The pay is not that high, but it is good enough for him. Then he asked about Mom. That is when I lost it. I could not believe he had the nerve to ask about her after everything he had done. I felt so angry, and I kind of had an outburst. I told him exactly how much he had hurt her. I told him about the days she could not get out of bed, when she just stayed there, barely able to get day-to-day things done. She could barely get ready to go to work, and once she got back home, she would just lock herself up in her room. It broke my heart to see her like that. She was so sad, so lost, and it was all because of him. I told him how much she loved him, how she trusted him over everything else, and how he had broken that trust in the worst way possible. She had done everything for him, stood by him through thick and thin, and he threw it all away. She believed in him, and he repaid her with lies and betrayal. And now he had the nerve to ask about her? To even pretend like he cared? I could not keep the anger in. I told him that he did not deserve to ask about her, that he did not deserve anything from her. He had destroyed her, and he had no right to think he could just waltz back into her life or mine. He had ruined everything, and now he wanted to fix it, but I was not sure it was even possible. Not after everything he did. I could not understand how he could do this and still think he had any place in our lives. Then I turned it on myself. I told him how he had failed me too. No matter how hard I worked, no matter how well I did in school, he never cared. He never praised me or showed me he was proud of me. Instead, he put all his attention on David, always making it clear that David was his favorite. I told him how much it hurt to grow up feeling like I was not enough for him, like I did not matter. Dad just sat there, letting me vent. He did not interrupt or try to defend himself. When I finally stopped, he let out a deep sigh and said he knew he had messed up. He said he had ruined everything, and he did not blame me or Mom for wanting nothing to do with him. He admitted that he had lost everything. His wife, his family, even the respect of his parents and siblings. He told me that before all of this, he had 2 kids and a wife who loved him. Now, he had no one. He said he did not deserve forgiveness, but he was hoping to rebuild something with me. He said he did not want to lose me too. The only reason he was here now, asking to talk to me, was because he had no one else. I told him I did not know how to feel about being his last choice, about being the only option he had left now that everything else in his life had fallen apart. Part of me wanted to give him another chance because, at the end of the day, he was still my father. But another part of me could not let go of everything he had done, not just to Mom but also to me. I could not get over all the times I tried so hard to make him proud, all the effort I put in just to get his attention, and all the times he simply did not care. I told him I did not know if I could have a relationship with him. I said I was sorry for how things had turned out, but I did not think I could be there for him. He said he understood, but that I should know that he would be there for me if I ever needed him for anything. He gave me his new number and he apologized again. Then I stood up and walked back to the house, and he was still sitting on that bench. When I returned home, I did not tell Mom what had happened. She was still downstairs, laughing and chatting with her sisters. She seemed so happy, and I did not want to ruin it for her. Instead, I went up to my room and lay down. I could not stop thinking about what Dad had said. I was not sure if I had done the right thing, but it was all I could do at the moment. I saved his number. Maybe I might reach out to him someday in the future. Maybe I might want to fix things with him. But for now, cannot see myself being around him for a long time.